will be quick and who will feel like I am stupid. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Azerbaijan at the circuit of Baku for the next round of Season 15 of Tier 1 of SLR. I am your host, Lawrence of the Red Hot Lovers, and as I said, we are here at Baku. Famously considered to be designed on Etch-a-Sketch by a lot of people, but whether it's in the real world or online, it always throws up a few surprises to this track, and we'll hopefully get some today as we travel around this 3.7 mile circuit with 20 turns, a lot of them right angles and heavy braking zones, but obviously the famous castle section and Sector 3 providing some good speed and chances for overtaking opportunities and mistakes as well. So of course on screen there we've got the tyre compound, soft, medium and hard. Not too sure if we're going to use the wets today. Hopefully we'll be able to, because I've never seen Baku in the wet and I feel like it could be very interesting. And if we do use the wet tyres there, they are the intermediates for that sort of little bit slippery but not too bad, and the wet tyres for if it is torrential rain, like it is in the UK basically all the time. But anyway, enough rambling, let's get into the action with qualifying. And I apologize for the menus popping up. I'm a one-man show at the minute, and unfortunately that means at the minute I do not have access to chat. So if you'll bear with me, folks, we will get into qualifying in just a second. Here we go. So here we are, Baku, on a lovely sunny evening from the looks of it, or at least late afternoon. That's quite an aesthetic there, you have to admit. So 17 drivers on the grid today, and looking out on track, it looks like we have a McLaren leading the charge. That will be Jensen R, as opposed to Jensen B, who used to drive for McLaren, but he's meant to be retired. We can only hope. He wasn't that bad. But we'll watch Jensen come round as he's coming through Sector 3. And he will be the first to set a lap time. Hopefully my co-commentator will show up, and hopefully he will be able to access chat for us. I apologize for anyone in chat if you are posting anything. I will try to get it up on my phone here just to see that the stream is working okay, although I get the feeling you would have been atting someone in the Discord by now if it wasn't. As we watch Jensen come round onto the final straight, that super long straight. You can get great speed, and then to the heavy left-hander of turn 1. Don't hit the wall on the outside, and then a short run down to turn 2. Another 90-degree left-hander. Again, very easy to hit the wall and exit, but he manages that beautifully. And now rev the guts out of your engine as you go down to the chicane of 3 and 4. Again, 2 left-handed 90-degree corners, so easy to snatch a break, but thankfully there is an escape road if you mess up. Watch the curve on the exit of 4, it is slightly raised and can spear you off into the wall, as Jensen found out nearly to his peril. Now the true chicane of 5 and 6. You always feel like you can carry lots of speed going through 5, but then 6 comes at you out of nowhere, and you realise just how careful you have to be through there. Clip the curve on the inside of 7, you can cut it actually quite generously on this year's game, and then into the infamous castle section where Leclerc famously said, "I am stupid." We'll have to see who's going to be king of the castle today. As we go into Sector 3, a curvature to the left, long left-hander, and then a downhill left-hander that's very easy to snatch a break and smash into the wall. We've seen Leclerc actually do that a few times in real life F1 this weekend so far. And then, as brave as you can be on the accelerator, going flat out if you dare through the chicane and onto the back straight. If you can get a car in front, you'll get the slipstream, and that is exactly what you want, and that's exactly what the McLaren has. DRS activates a lot later than you'd think, and he's already used his deployment, has Jensen. The slipstream should help him a bit, and he gets a 138.3. If you'll just bear with me, I appreciate we haven't changed the camera yet. There we go, there's the stream. 3 watching, no one in live chat at the minute. So that's okay. just some other times up on the board there while I was going through that. We have Noah Yikipo... There! I can't even say it. Noah on provisional pole, the man with a 37.6, Makender with a 37.9, there's Jensen still in third, Naika with a 38.8, and Jamie with a 39.1, so a range of times. Already stretching over 2 seconds. We've only had 6 drivers complete a lap as Tug gets into P4 on a 138.4. Looks like we have, there's a Ferrari coming to the line, and they'll be getting, that's Run Cruiser, and they'll be getting a slipstream from a Williams of, I want to say that's Smelto, could be Kit though, both of them on laps, and look at the tow the Run Cruiser's getting. You've got plenty of ERS to supplement it, whereas the Williams in front is burned out, and Run Cruiser the line gets P5, it was Smelto, who gets a 139 and goes down to P8. Got a no, that was a Mercedes, I apologize, coming over the line, was it? No, it was the Aston Martin, it was Crystals. A 139.9 for Crystals. Who have we got coming in line here? Lepson starting his lap. No, sorry, finishing his, and Crawley Voice. The 2 Red Bulls in the 140s and Kit in the 140s as well. So again, the range of times we have around here. I appreciate it's only banker runs, but it's quite a range of times, to be sure. Gerla coming around to complete their lap. And coming through Sector 3 now, I just heard a Discord ping. I think my co-commentator has arrived.
Yes, I have.
Now, I don't know how you're going to get in the session, mate, because if you do, you'll be put into a car, I think.
Could you...
I could...
are you share your screen on Discord?
Actually, hang on. No, I think they allow you to just go as spectator, so see if you can get an invite off someone. We'll give it a try anyway. I mean, there's only 17 drivers, so you're not taking a car from anyone.
I don't have the game.
Wait, what? I thought you did.
Yeah, I don't... No.
Right. Apologies, folks. I'll have to alt-tab here. You owe the viewers for this.
I'm sure I do. That is absolutely true. I'll make up for it with my great commentary.
We will see about that, boss. When you can make up for a start by keeping an eye on chat. Get the stream up.
I
and
can
have a
keep
look
an eye on
for
chat. I like chat. How's it going, chat?
We're slowly turning into Twitch. Hello, chat. But speaking of the race that we're meant to be watching, we've got Tunari coming round. One of only 2 drivers left to finish their lap, and it looks like they're going fairly slowly and probably going to abort that run. So Danny and Tunari will not set a time on this opening sortie, and everyone else is just making their way back to the pit lane for another run, except for we've got Makender on that lap, Jensen on that lap as well, and Jamie, who is closest. It's going to be Jensen, who was first out of the box on the first runs, and it looks like he's going to do it again, and he's timed it seems quite well, because there's a Ferrari coming through Sector 3 that could give him a nice little slipstream.
Yeah, he'll have a little bit of traffic coming through this S section, but after that, if he can get by that Ferrari, as that Ferrari pulls off to the side, so he will have a straight shot down the...
Did you just bash your desk?
Front straightaway.
Did you just bash your desk? I just heard a thud.
No.
Anyway, but he didn't get much of a slipstream.
I did not bash my desk.
No, the Ferrari getting out of the way very early on, so we've got some other cars making their way out of the pit lane now. I think that Ferrari was maybe on low fuel mode because we've got yellows as it pulls into the pit lane there. And Jensen, there's a bit of front wing on the exit of turn 1. It's not from the McLaren. Someone else has had a moment through there. But we'll watch the sector times.
Into turn...
Oh, that was a bump on the
3.
wall. That was a bump. Oh, that was just making it through there. Lots of lockups from Jensen. He's pushing on this lap. Obviously, they're using the second run to try and explore his limits. Smoke everywhere on that McLaren. And I think he's back. No, he's going into overtake mode. He's not backed off.
He's got plenty of time to make another run. If this one doesn't succeed, he'll work his way up through the castle section, weaving between between the walls out of turn number 12 and down the backside of this race course.
Just to let you know, your mic cut out there a little bit, so... And there may not be anything you can do, but just to make you aware.
Well, that's fun.
That's okay. Gosh, the lockups that we're seeing from this McLaren. I mean, you know, might as well use the tires fully, I suppose, but it's not particularly quick if you're locking up. But this will be Jensen's second run. He was provisional pole because he was first to start a lap. He is fourth at the minute. He's getting a great slipstream from the Aston, which wisely moves aside. And the deployment's already been used again. He did this on the last lap. He's used his deployment too early. And he's half a second down on his previous best. Looking on the rest of the track, Makender is on the lap. He's a 10th up in Sector 1. And I was just talking to the viewers about this because you've just joined here. The range of the times we're seeing. I mean, I've commentated a few races for Tier 2 and a couple for Tier 1, but I've never seen a range in the field this big. I appreciate it's only second runs, but 1:37.6 is the pole time. 1:40.8 is at the back there with Lepson. For a track that's mostly straights, they're finding a lot of time somewhere in the lap.
Yes, you can find a lot of time in that middle sector, right between 5 and 12. A lot of deep braking zones to make up as Makender goes second fastest. A lot of time you can make up in that middle sector, but as you said, a lot of straight. I don't know that there's really 3 seconds in it. I think if you're 3 seconds off, you're just 3 seconds off.
Quite possibly there. And no, actually aborting that lap. He was improving, but maybe finding he wasn't gaining too much time on the straightaways. Who else have we got out there? Tug is on the lap. I'm assuming Makender's on a cooldown. No, maybe not. Yeah, no, he is on a cooldown because he's on none there. No deployment. Tug. Now, you can see he's being very strategic in this middle sector. He's on a lap and he is improving, but you can see on his ERS, no deployment in that middle sector. He's saving up all his battery for that final straightaway. You can see the light on the back charging.
That is a smart play. That kind of back straightaway with a couple kinks, and then obviously out of 16 all the way, the run up to the line, you can use a ton of ERS and it can bolster your lap big time.
Shouts to Meepo, who is now up to P4. We missed that lap, unfortunately, because we're watching the ones who are battling for pole at the minute. So Tug coming through Sector 2 into the downhill braking zone. Charging again, he's 100%. He's saving all his battery for Sector 3. Not entirely sure if that's necessary to save all of it, because there are still some fairly long patches of straightaway where you could do with a bit of extra time. But he's going into hot lap now. Let's see how quickly it drains the battery. Overtake as he goes through the chicane. He's already down 20% as Makender retires in the pit lane. Now that's interesting because there was time for one more run. And look, he's burning everything here and he's going into the pits. Okay, kind of an odd one, but alright. Run Cruiser is 1.2 down, so he'll be going for another lap. Kit is half a second up on his previous best. Crystals is just starting a run. Lepson is 3.8 seconds down, so he must be on a cooldown. Just looking at the rest of the field here, we'll keep an eye on Kit. Croyvo's in the garage. Gerla just starting, as I said. Danny is also out on track. So let's see. We'll keep an eye on Crystals here. Of course, was in Tier 2 at the start of the season. Got promoted. And really... Yeah, I imagine he's enjoying himself, but it's certainly not Tier 2 this ain't. He's not winning like he was every week. He's really having to fight hard for every position here, which is what we want from our drivers. You know, we don't want to give everyone a free ride.
Yeah. And to go back to Tug.
Sorry, Crystal's nearly doing an I am stupid there and just brushing the wall with his side pod. I really thought there was going to be a tire flying off into the stratosphere there, but he just gets away with it. And whether it's compromised his lap or not.
That was almost really bad. But to go back to Tug for just a moment, he down that front straightaway, he still had a lot more ERS in it. I think quite possibly that he knows there's more time in it, and he's going to use his ERS in different sections of the course. He was just kind of going out for a test lap. He's got plenty of time, 3.5 minutes to go out there and set another fastest lap and challenge Noah for pole.
Now, Gurla are boring their lap as well. They were just keeping hot lap on down the straight, and they barely use any battery. It's only overtake that really burns the battery. So, I suppose the question is, is it worth it just to, if you want to use overtake all the way down the back straight, you're going to have to switch off and charge. Or is it better to stay in hot lap and lose a little bit of battery on the straight? Are you going to gain more by having hot lap through the entire lap and then a bit of a boost at the end, or do you save up in the middle section? Which one is quicker? Because it seems like for the second round, a lot of drivers are aborting their lap, and I think that's because they're experimenting to a degree. We saw, we saw one driver, we saw Gerlich staying on hot lap and then aborting for the pit lane, and then Run Cruiser using overtake and aborting for the pit lane. So they seem to be experimenting a little bit to see what works best here.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to do to set yourself up to have the fastest lap here in Baku. You've got several straights between 2 and 3. You've got a long one between 12 and 15, and then obviously you kind of have that middle sector. You can pick up a little bit of time in the middle sector with ERS, especially between 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, but not a ton of time. You really want to deploy it between 19 and the start-finish line.
The only problem, of course, being if you get it wrong and burn out, then you're suddenly on 0 battery and not using any ERS, which will absolutely kill your lap time.
Yes.
But that's the risk you run. Interesting, both Mercedes have retired. Again, there should be time for a final run, but they're obviously thinking... I mean, I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest. There's plenty of people behind that could improve, and pole was not a million miles away. But whether they're thinking of saving a set... They may be thinking of saving a set for the race, but... I've not seen the soft compound tire used at all on this year's game. In fact, the soft compound tire has proven so useless in the races that the Creator Series on YouTube are actually banning the hard tire for their next season, because the hard tire is basically bulletproof. So
I think that you'll see they're betting on a safety car is what they're doing. They're betting on a late race safety car. Obviously, a lot of tight corners here in Baku. It is entirely possible we could have a late race safety car, and you put on a fresh set of softs to go to the end of the race.
I mean, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, Baku, unless you've got Slipstream, is not the easiest place in the world to overtake, because if you get it wrong, you're going straight into the concrete maker. So, obviously with Slipstream being so powerful, you can overtake that way, but track position is still pretty important here, and I know they're fairly far up the front, but I don't know, it just feels weird to potentially give up pole. I mean, if you're going to save a set of tires, why not just start on, why not do a run on the mediums, or heck, even do a run on the inters like they do in Creator Series? There's nothing stopping you. Do a run on inters just to get a feel for the track, and then do 2 runs on the softs and save a set of softs.
Yes, that is a very viable strategy. I don't know exactly what the Mercedes guys are thinking. We would have to ask them. But there's several different ways you could save tires here in this qualifying session.
Right. Well, we're coming around. Flag has dropped. We didn't really see much of the timer because there's so many yellows of cars diving out the way. Jensen has invalidated his lap, so he will not be taking pole. So has Jammy, so he'll be staying P11 at best. Who else have we got here? We got Red Bull. I'm sorry for the flicking through. He's trying to figure out who's who. Meepo will be next to cross the line. Pole time is a 1:37.6 by Noah. It doesn't look like Meepo's going to get that. He's also burning 37. He gets second, though. He wasn't far off. That'll be Nikau coming to the line. Only goes up 1 position to P8. Who was that? That was Tug, now taking P2. A 10th off his teammate as Noah improves his time to a 37.3, and that's basically just shut everyone else down at the minute, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Run Cruiser is not
that.
improving. Sorry, Crawley Voice is not improving. Smelto is improving, but only by 2/10. Kit is missing his front wing. Crystals possibly? Coming up to the line. It's not going to be good enough for pole, but surely better than a 1:39. Though not by, well, decent amount. P8 for Crystals. Lepson stays 15th, and Gurla is half a 6/10 up. currently sitting in P16, and they will stay P16. Also, again, like last time, Danny not setting a lap again. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But there you go.
Yeah, we saw Tug experiment with a handful of minutes to go, and that seems to have really paid off. Alpine on the front row, 1-2. That I think will make the start, the run down to turn 1 interesting. You can get a lot of team communication, kind of plan out your strategy, so that you can stay in the top 2.
What's with SLR and always have what the 5 fins on the front? Look at that. Kimi Räikkönen's fan club has taken the top 5 spots, which is Noah from Tug, from Meepo, from Tunari, Makender, Christian, Jensen, Crystals, Naiko, and Run Cruiser, your top 10. The rest of the positions there: Crowley Voice, Jamie, Smelto, Kit, Lepson, Gerla, and Danny at the back, the only racer not to set a time. So it's the battle of the fins at the front here.
Yes. That will be interesting, and it's wet.
This just got a lot more interesting, which would explain actually maybe
tires in qualifying didn't matter.
Well, do you know what? It would explain then the difference in pace. Presumably some drivers have been anticipating this wet weather and gone for a very heavy downforce setup, which makes me wonder whether the ones on the front who were massively quicker than everyone else are either really brave or really stupid. Because if they've gone lower downforce, and this looks like torrential rain, this looks like full wet conditions, could come back to bite them, especially at Castle section.
Absolutely. Downforce is... You don't want a lot of downforce here in Azerbaijan normally in the dry, but it's very different in the wet.
5 red lights, sorry, and we are away. Noah gets a good launch, but it's a brilliant launch from Tunari in the Mercedes. Looking at the inside, he's already ahead of Meepo, and we've got a rear end already. Meepo has rear-ended Tug. Doesn't seem to be any damage. Can barely see the cars through the spray. Noah still holds on to lead. Tunari is now second. Makender now third. Tug fourth. Did everyone make it through cleanly? No, we've got yellows. That's Meepo and Jamie in the wall. And Jamie smashing his rear wing on the wall for good measure as well. All very tentative on these opening laps. It is intermediates, actually. I'm surprised with this amount of rain. I would have thought it would have been wet weather conditions. But they all seem to be... Is everyone... No, we've got a mixture of strategies. So Noah on the inters. As so is Tug, Crawley, Kit, Meepo, and Jamie, all on the inters. Everyone else on the wets. And considering 2 of the drivers on inters ended up in the wall, I'm wondering whether it's a gamble to go on the inters.
I think there might have been a little contact there at the back. With all the spray, it's hard to see down into turn number 3. Obviously, we saw Noah in the Alpine get a fantastic start off the line, but it's going to... This restart will tell us a lot. If Noah can kind of pull away from Tunari, we could absolutely see that the Inters kind of win the battle. Obviously, if Tunari is able to keep up with Noah, then I think it's probably more wet conditions. Obviously, Tug didn't get a great start off the line, possibly a little bit of wheel spin in the wet weather. So, the restart is really going to tell us the true conditions.
Well, yeah, I mean, initial investigation, you'd say there, Tug maybe is the reason he got wheel spin because he's on the intermediates. We're about to find out as Jensen gets ahead of Crystals on the restart. Very opportunistic move there and making it work. Crystals, of course, a Tier 2 driver formerly. And is everyone going to make it through the chicane safely, or are we going to have a sudden loss of grip for anyone? Nope, they've all made it through. So, Noah is immediately under pressure from Tunari. Tunari moving to take the lead and does so. And Noah losing out nearly to Makender. Is Makender going to make it through as well? He will. He's on the inside. So 2 places lost for the Alpine off the restart. Now, how much of that is down to tyres and how much of that is down to setup on the downforce? Makender is challenging his teammate for the lead here. What was it for the McLarens? It was papaya rules. What would this be? Silver bullet rules?
Silver arrow rules?
Arrow rules?
Yeah.
Chrome rules. We'll call it Chrome rules. And Jensen now ahead of Tug. The intermediate runners are struggling. Crawley Voice has also dropped down behind Danny. Nikau, meanwhile, barging his way past Run Cruiser. It's hard to tell with all the spray, but they were 3 wide for a second there. Run Cruiser now falling behind. Nikau and Run Cruiser. God, look at this, side by side. We're going to go on board so we can actually see what's going on. Nikau loses out eventually. But no, inters were not the right call. Obviously DRS is not a thing, but you can still go by the time gap. Noah is already a second down on the 2 leading Mercedes. The inters are not working, and the race strategies aren't even recommending the intermediates according to the graphics there.
Yeah, I think that we have already seen through the first 2/3 of a lap, the inters were not the way to go. Obviously, Noah got a great start off the line somehow, but the Silver Arrows have pulled away, and I expect Jensen to slowly close in on Noah and take that final podium position.
Speaking of taking places, Run Cruiser is on a run here. He gets past Tug. Tug is dropping like a stone. He's now falling into the claws of Nikau, who is literally about to rear end him going through the chicane. The inters do not have any grip in the high speed or low speed corners, nor are they pushing the water effectively out of the way, because even without the slipstream, look, Tug is having to burn a little bit there to actually get through. Maykinder with the fastest lap of a 1:57. Tug is pulling away a little bit here, but that's only with the slipstream. And going a bit wide at the apex, the inters just do not have the grip at this stage of the race. We can only assume, I would imagine, that being that far up the front, you wouldn't want to take a gamble as such, but surely they've been looking at the weather thinking it says it's going to improve. That would be the only reason to go on the intermediate tires.
Absolutely, there has to be some weather reason. Just looking at that overtake again by Nikau, we saw a little bit of a bobble from the rear end by Tug, and I think that really exemplifies the conditions. They are not intermediate conditions. They are very full wet conditions, and Tug is struggling as we saw into turn number 5.
I mean, we're riding on board with Tug. You look at the telemetry down the bottom. He's not even full throttle by the time he hits 5th gear. He cannot get the power down, and he's having to brake so early to avoid snatching a front tire. Look at that, half throttle, barely even 3/4. He's having to be so careful, but he's persisting on. I mean, what else can he do? If he pits now, he'll be miles behind everyone else. Noah's having a slightly better time. Jensen not able to make the inroads that we were expecting, but Noah is 2.8 behind already. We've only done 3 laps, so that's roughly a second a lap that Noah is losing to the 2 Mercedes, who are still within a second of each other and seem to just be perfectly happy to keep the status quo at the minute. Maykinder leading from Tunari. Maykinder obviously showing the more pace early on, but just trying to drag his teammate along a little bit here, though Tunari's slowly falling back. Noah had an awful 3rd sector. The gap's already 3.5 now. That was in 1 sector. He lost about, what, 8/10?
Yeah, that run down the hill into 15, the deep braking zone. He didn't have a great exit out of 15 as we watched Tug get passed by Danico. Danico, another fantastic race, just like he had in Monza a couple weeks ago. He's already up to 7th from 17th, so the McLaren is going to be one to watch. As
we have a virtual safety car. That's Tug. Tug is in the wall. The grip failed him. Yep, thought that was going to happen, and he's ghosted now. He's lost part of his front wing. His name's Tug, more like mugged. Absolutely mugged in this race. Started up near the front. He's down in 16th with a damaged car. Inters were not the right call for him. Noah is surviving, but that's all he really can do at the minute, isn't it? I mean, would the inters maybe last longer in theory? They're not going to heat up as much, that's for certain, but they still won't have the grip.
I think that he has definitely looked at the weather and made this decision based on the future weather as his rear end steps out on him there through. There's got to be a weather reason. I mean, if there's not a weather reason and he's just on the inters because he thinks they're better, then I don't know how to help him.
Well, just to show the difference in the tires there, all aboard the Crawley train. Crawley 2.4 down on Christian in P8 and has an entire field of cars behind him. It's like watching LMP cars driving around in their different categories. We have yellows. Ooh! Crystals. Full safety car. I thought I saw someone's rear end stepping out there. Crystals was actually on the full wet, but got a bit too overzealous going over the hill, I think. And I saw the rear end of a car step out. It must have been Crystals and just slamming straight into the wall. That's game over for Crystals. And we've got full safety car. Let's see if the Inters will take the opportunity to get rid of their tyres. Both Mercedes pitting. Who's that going on ahead? Noah is not pitting on the intermediates. That's interesting. All the wet runners pitting now, it seems. Crawley Voice. That's a bit risky, trying to I wonder if he'll take a penalty for that. He overtook before the other car was in the pits. Hopefully the game picks up that the Ferrari was trying to pit. So everyone pitting, really, except for Crawley Voice and Noah. Makender's made out in P3. Did Meepo pit? Meepo did not pit, so Meepo's up to P4. So the Inter driver's staying out. Everyone now switching to the intermediates. That's surprising, because I thought the wets were doing rather well.
I thought the wets were doing well too, but you can just kind of start to see visually a little bit of a drier line forming, really kind of through this middle sector. I think that's what these guys are looking at. That they're going to take the chance under the full safety car to make a pit stop, even if it's not quite time for Inters yet, and there's still a little bit of life left in the wets. They don't want to be caught out on the wets and have to make a stop with the whole field packed up.
Tell you what, Makender will probably feel a bit hard done by. I mean, it's a risky run, but I mean, not his fault the safety car came up. Now, the question is, are we going to be in intermediate conditions, really, when we get a restart here? The rain still seems just as heavy as it was before. If there is a dry line, it's because the cars have been driving on that line for the past few laps. The rain may be easing slightly. So Noah, saved by the safety car, gets to reclaim pole. Crawley Voice was nowhere near there, and now somehow up to P2. Same for Meepo. Where did Tunari came out behind Run Cruiser, so the double stacking from the Mercedes did cost them a bit. Run Cruiser has been able to leap the Mercedes. And we'll just take a chill here as we have the safety car out, because not a whole lot is happening. Any word from chat?
No, there's nobody in chat.
That's fine. Nice to have a chill race instead of them shouting at us for a change.
How's it going, chat?
It's just a vibe. Enjoy the vibes.
We can do that.
Listen to the rain tapping on your helmet. But
I don't have a helmet.
well, vibing is boring. Your predictions then for the rest of the race? Has Noah got this in the bag now, or are those 5 extra laps gonna cost him later in the race? Do you think?
I think that I think that in terms of the Inters, I think that they're pretty even with 5 more laps on them. I don't know that the Inters wear super much, so I think that everybody's kind of even. But the one guy that I'm watching a little bit deeper in the field is Danny Coe. He started 17th. We saw him run through the field in Monza, get all the way to the front. He's up to 9th in 6 laps today. He was farther up the field. So before the safety car, so I think that he definitely has a very good shot at winning this race. He has an extremely fast race car, and the rocket ship underneath him could very well propel him to the front.
Indeed. I got to call him out on this. I'm sorry, it's a too good an opportunity to pass up. Someone who is not having a good race at the minute and has a reason behind it at the minute is Kit, who is down in 16th. Reason he was so far down in quali, as it turns out, is, and I quote from the chat, "Forgot to put new tyres, so had the same set for the entire stint. Let me cook." So please, there's a PSA for everyone. Always remember to change your tires whenever you are doing your quali runs. A safety car will come in this lap. Now this could be, I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly nervous for the restart. Baku has been a tricky one to get right on restart. And we've seen plenty of crashes in the past in various leagues when the safety car restarts happen here. Not to mention we've got spray being kicked up as well that's going to obscure visibility. Although Noah does seem to be behaving quite sensibly. And keeping the field at a consistent pace, about 90 miles an hour he's going right now. He's not allowed to drastically lower his speed. And he's been very consistent in the minute. It's like an IndyCar start here at the minute. When's he going to go? He's gone.
Like Joseph Newgarden at Gateway.
Crawley voice left for dead somewhat. And will he come under pressure? He will not. Everyone seems to be as they were going down the track, except for Lepson, who runs wide over the curb and loses out to Smelto. That was for P11. Lepson not really enjoying the conditions here today. Got more crashes going on down the back. As I'm getting some really weird effect on stream where every time I change car there's like a ghosting of the previous image. It's like taking a photograph. But Crawley voice now has lost out to Meepo, or Meppo, however you say it. And Lepson dropping down the order. What's happened to him? Nothing, apparently. He's just letting everyone through, it seems. But looking back there, Run Cruiser now looking to get past Crawley Voice. Crawley Voice on the older tires, but I don't think that's the reason for his struggles. I think he's just finding it hard to get them up to temperature again. He's currently holding the field up a little bit as they go through Castle section. Further back, Danny around the outside of Nikau. Is Nikau just going to what are you going to do? Get mad or get even? He's going to get mad, it seems, and just drop back. So Danny up to P8. It's still saying safety car, even though I assure you it's not. Gerla, they're looking to also try and take advantage of Nikau. And let's see, up at the front, Makender and Noah have checked out somewhat. Meepo is already 1 second, 1.2 behind. Crawley Voice a further 1.2 further back from that. The front two have checked out. As we've got Run Cruiser, I just saw that the gap closing there with the slipstream. Crawley Voice is sinking like a stone there. He's lost 2 places on the main straight. As Run Cruiser gains a place and loses it again as Tunari, in that little rocket ship of a Mercedes, gets up to P4 on 1 straight.
That was a fairly calm safety car restart. We saw some guys making moves. Danny Coe picked up 2 positions off the restart, but fairly calm from the boys. They seem to have settled into these conditions very nicely.
I'm waiting for that to be a jinx. I was just waiting for the camera we were following to just smack into the wall or something there, because commentators curse. Someone who's still not enjoying the conditions is Tug. He already had that smash. He's currently battling for P11 and 10 against Christian and Gerla, and he's not finding it easy to get past. But it's what you expect. It's the same with the real life as well. Some drivers love the wet conditions and others absolutely despise it. And Tug seems to be one of the ones who does not enjoy the wet conditions at the minute. He needs to try, if he has got pace, he needs to try and find his way through. So does Christian, because Gerla, whilst surviving, is not really closing in on Nikau in front.
And you can see kind of out of the exit at 12 now, down this back straightaway of sorts, there's really a nice dry line starting to form. It's still raining just a little bit. A small bit of drizzle we can see out of our press box window in the paddock section at Baku, but I think that we'll be going to dry conditions before the end of the race.
Probably. I love that camera angle where it makes it look like they're all sideways drifting. Someone who will be hoping that the conditions do not improve any more than this is Run Cruiser. He's happy as a pig in mud at the minute in these just sort of wet conditions. Crawley Voice will be hoping for an improvement, I think. He's dropped another position. This time it's to Danny, although Danny running wide on exit. And they're all bunching up behind Meepo. Tunari trying to find a way through. As I've changed for the lead, Makender with the Slipstream has overtaken. Now, you're mentioning about the change of dry conditions, just to explain to viewers at home, what the magic sign that we're looking for is not the rain stopping, it's not a certain amount of dryness on the track, although those can help. It's those magic words, DRS enabled. At that point, the game has said, look, we're going to flick the switch, Inters are not doing anything anymore. There will be a build-up to it, but that is the key crossover moment. And Makender, now that he's ahead, buffeting a bit from that lockup, but he will try and check out, I think, before these tires get too worn. And maybe it speaks to the dry line already that Noah, who's on older tires, and if the line is drying, he's probably burnt away a lot of his rubber already.
And you could see on that onboard shot of Makender down into turn 7, the sun just starting to peek through the clouds. So certainly dry conditions are possibly on the way for these guys, and that will drastically change the battle.
Unless Noah isn't able to catch up, though. Look at the gap forming now. 1.3 between Makender and Noah. He only overtook him at the start of this lap. Further down the order, Naikau is on the march, zipping through. He's gotten past Crawley Voice, who is really not enjoying this stage of the race, and he's also on the old tires as well. I wonder if the tires have burned away a bit quicker than they thought they would. Makender with the fastest lap of the race. Tunari and Meepo battling. Meepo to the inside, and Run Cruiser trying to take advantage as well. He's alongside, but he thinks better of it. Smart, sensible driving from Run Cruiser.
Yeah, great battle going on here for the final podium position. Danico just kind of lurking behind. Definitely looking for a way to get around these guys.
Indeed. As I say, the leaders seem to have checked out somewhat. 3 seconds the gap from Noah to Meepo, and Noah himself 1.6 now behind Makender. Makender has lit blue touch paper and retired. Not literally, obviously. That's a very old-fashioned saying. I'm showing me age. But he will try and build as much of a gap as possible while the Inters are still good. And hopefully that will be enough that when the pit stops roll around to pit to dries, he will be in a position to say, look, I can just box and come out still in the race lead, unless there's someone who's brave enough to stay on the intermediate tires. But right now we are watching the battle for third place, which has about 5 cars involved in it and more joining all the time. Meepo is holding the position at the minute, but how long can he hold on for? He's on 9-lap-old Inters compared to the 5-lappers behind him, and the strain that those tires are under is showing. He's basically getting pushed through that corner by Tunari. Surely Tunari will have the run of the Slipstream. The rain is now nothing more than a few spits. The dry line is getting bigger. We cannot be far from dry weather conditions. Here comes Tunari to the outside and makes it through. Run Cruiser as well, and out of nowhere Danny is going to go past all of them. Oh, we've got front wing.
Big
what was
crash.
That was Meepo. He's lost his right end plate. That's extraordinary. How did he manage to hit the wall? And the Ferrari as well. Run Cruiser has got damage. That's very unusual.
We might have come over on Run Cruiser.
But they both lost the right side of their wing. Like they both lost the same side, which is unusual.
I think Run Cruiser might have tried to go to the outside of Meepo down that front straightaway and possibly just locked wheels and collided into the wall.
Interestingly, Gurla has pitted and come out on what looks to be another set of intermediates. I thought Gurla would have gambled for the dries at this point. Might as well, they're down 16th, and they've got a drive-through for speeding under VSC. It is the most annoying of penalties, to be fair. The delta does not change as accurately as other games. You can go into a braking zone and suddenly find yourself over the delta by like half a second just because you didn't tap the brakes early enough. It's frustrating. At least it's only a 5-second penalty. Not that that will be much comfort to Gurla, but it's something. So, Danny is now in the hot spot for the podium as Tunari drifts his way around the top of the castle section, trying to reclaim that spot. Run Cruiser and Meepo, the two damaged cars, now holding off Nikau, or trying to. And now they're in... Oh! Was that a polystyrene board going off, or was that damage? No, that was just a polystyrene board. That was like a braking marker. Meepo literally rear-ending Run Cruiser through that corner. These two must have come to blows because they really don't like each other right now. And this is getting dicey. This is getting very dicey. It's exciting. Oh, more carbon fiber flying off. Run Cruiser losing out to Meepo. What will Nikau do? Look at them swapping back and forth. Neither looking for any quarter. And Nikau just says, thank you very much. You've given up all your speed. I'm just going to go on through. Run Cruiser and Meepo. Oh, it's like watching Ben-Hur in the chariot race all over again. Now I'm really showing my age if I know about Ben-Hur.
Even I'm not that old.
Well, let's not get bogged down in whom has watched what. Actually, to be fair, Ben-Hur is a classic film. Go and watch it. But anyway, also bring some popcorn. It's like 4 hours long. But yes, Meepo winning out initially here. But we'll keep an eye on these two. I imagine there will be a big discussion after the race between them as well. It seems to be the main battle on the track, aside from Tunari and Danny in the battle for third, because Tunari has closed up. Danny now 4.2 behind Noah, who is 1.5 behind Makender. So Makender seems to be controlling the pace somewhat. They're all sliding around a lot more now. I wouldn't be surprised if someone smashes it into Castle at some point in the near future. Let's watch and see if they all get through on this occasion. Seem to have, apart from Lepson, who... Was he off the track there? Ooh, that was close. And poor wee Gerla trailing round. God loves a trier. But he doesn't love them that much, apparently. As Makender, those inters are still good. He said a purple sector 1. Or sorry, sector 2, sorry, I should say.
The water is slowly leaving the track. That is just a reflection. So we are closing in on dry conditions. It'll be a matter of when the FIA deems the DRS viable at this point.
Well, it can't be too far out, but we're in prime intermediate territory right now, because even with 8-lap old tires, Danny has set the fastest lap of the race. So this is the tiny window where inters are available. So some of them, maybe if they're thinking of a gamble, will be thinking, look, do we take it and go to inters, go to dries now? Just take the risk. Can only be 1 or 2 laps away. As Meepo trying to reclaim his position. Oh my gosh, we're 3 wide. Run Cruiser's back at it again with a Krispy Kreme. Who's that on the right? That is Crawley Voice. It's 3 wide, now it's 2 wide. Run Cruiser is not backing down. This is going to end in tears. This is going to end in tears. Ooh, rubbing wheels. They really don't like each other today, do they?
No, they don't.
It's great to see. It's like watching NASCAR a little bit here. And Run Cruiser is letting his teammate through. That's smart team play by the Ferraris. They swap round. Christian knowing he has more pace, and Run Cruiser admitting that. We've got yellows in sector 1. That's Gerla. Should be able to rejoin the track, and does so. Now, can Christian make his way past Meepo and avenge the prancing horse, which Meepo is trying to send to the glue factory? Gap at the front, meanwhile, has increased to 2.6, and Danny is closing slightly, is within the 2-second window. So Noah maybe starting to struggle a bit more than they anticipated on this set. It's still not quite right for dry tires. If you took them now, it would still be something of a gamble. The inters, as you can see from Makender, showing that they are still worth something. Christian showing what he's worth. He gets past. Jensen and Jamie both get past Run Cruiser, who's obviously missing that front wing. And Jamie gets past Jensen at the same time as well. Like I said, the slipstream on the main straight is where you're seeing most of the overtakes. I don't think we've really seen any overtakes into the corners yet, maybe 1 or 2. But it's mostly due to the run you get through Sector 3. Run Cruiser, in fact, is pitted, and he's taking the gamble. He might as well. He's on to the mediums. Now we will see how he copes. We'll keep an eye on him. The gaps are fairly large at the minute, so we'll take this opportunity. We'll just keep an eye on the times as well. But just watching Run Cruiser, and we'll see how he does coming out of the pits.
A little bit squirrely immediately on exit, but
Of course,
it seems to be slightly stable. He might have had a little bit of trouble getting the power down out of turn number 2, but
well, of course, of course, the main thing with this year's game is no tire blankets, or limited tire blankets, I suppose is the way to put it. Used to be back in the days, those mediums would have been cooking away right up to temperature. Of course, there are going to be cold tires coming out of the pits with the limited tire temperatures, so he will have to get them warmed up. But that rain has stopped, and that line looks very dry. Run Cruiser, that's a normal braking point near enough. A little bit slow in acceleration, but I think we are approaching the crossover point. It might be worth the gamble right now.
He has definitely lost time to laps, and I think we've probably got another lap or two.
Well, bearing in mind he has to heat them up, though, he's not losing a super huge amount of time. The inters are still showing good. Noah does pit. I mean, he was on much older ones. He's on 14-lap-old inters, and they've probably burned away by now. Makender can afford to take them a bit longer, because even those first few laps, he was on... the first few laps was under safety car. So really, he's only had them on for about 7 laps. Noah goes on to means, ooh, losing the rear and just holding it there. So cold tires coming out of the pits do cause some problems, it seems. But most of the field now is swapping, and DRS has been enabled. So the timing was right. Makender should just get away with it. He's still improving, actually, on his sector times. But you can hear the engine revving a little bit more now. I think he will have timed this to perfection as much as he can. Let's see how he does. Keeps an E3 cast. We're just watching the sector times. See how much he loses through the corners here. He's not even going to 7th through there. Sector 2. And full safety car. That is perfect for Makender and for the top 5. So he doesn't even need to worry about that because the race is now neutralized. Not sure what it was for. Must have been, was it for Gurla?
I believe Kit might have had a collision with the wall.
Yep, no front wing on Kit's car. Kit car. But that's the best news that Makender could have heard. He will get into the pits. No one directly behind him is going to skip the pit lane. His nearest rival, Noah, is... what would you say? 12, 20... He's more than 20 seconds... He's about 20 seconds behind. Which would be just on the fringe for a normal pit stop. But of course, you're only going to lose about half as much time during a safety car. He should come out in the lead. Since everyone else is pitting. And indeed, he does so. Danny may also still hold on to 2nd, potentially. Who have we got coming line? Crawley, Voice, Jammy. Here comes Noah. Just coming up to the start finish line now. He should jump Jammy and may well jump Crawley as well. He will jump Crawley. And Nikau. Interestingly, Crawley going for the softs.
Yeah, 10 laps to go, I think, is... might
ambitious.
Be prime soft condition. I don't think it's ambitious at all. I think... the softs can go about 7 to 8 laps. You'll probably get 1 to 2 under safety car. So I think you'll be left with about 8 laps left.
I mean, here's the thing. It says that they can go 7 laps, but that's 7 laps till the end of their tire life. They're only going to be good for about 4, maybe 5 at most, which could be all he needs, but... I mean, in leagues, let's face it, there's a reason that we don't see many drivers running softs on F124. They're not a very good race tire unless it is a sprint to the finish. And, I mean, it's going to be nip and tuck, I'll grant you, but bearing in mind he's going to want to be using those softs to overtake as well, he will be taking a lot of life out of them. Oh, as Christian nearly loses it over the curb. Lepson is also taking the gamble. Both Red Bulls going for the softs. Everyone else going on to the mediums.
I do think there is some strategy to putting on the softs, getting by guys, and then parking the bus.
But is parking the bus really an option around here? Because every lap, unless you can break the toe, you are going to have the Slipstream, and we've seen how powerful Slipstream and DRS, which is now activated, is.
And we've
seen how quickly the ERS burns as well, so even if you use that to defend, you're really only going to be able to use it for one lap.
That is true. It's certainly going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, it looks like safety car will not be coming in this lap. And once again, we're just going to take some vibing. So let's see, Crowley Voice. So the nearest soft runner is P8. Gonna take a hell of a lot of effort to get up to the podium, never mind the win, but hey, this is why we watch F1.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of guys on softs at the back. I think it possibly makes some inroads on some of the guys kind of in the middle on the medium tires. It's definitely going to be a shootout for the final couple points paying positions.
Hopefully safety car should be in this lap, I'd say. We want to go racing again, FIA. Come on. It was just a front wing.
I think we've probably got possibly one still trailing the field.
Yes,
And
we've got
left.
two cars actually. That will be Kit and Gerla, I believe.
And
Lepson.
Lepson's back there too.
Sorry, yes, the colours all mixed together. Ooh, lock up there from Danny. They're all trying to get the tyres up to temperature. I mean, now we are within range where the softs could maybe do some work.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting sprint to the finish. I think Crawley Voice has some positions to make up, but he can definitely make some inroads on the leaders.
Well, we will have to wait and see, but we won't have long to wait. It should be this lap that they're all coming in, except for Lepson, who's pitted again for the softs now. He should catch up to the field in time. Indeed, he will catch up. He's going through the second sector now. So it'll be interesting to watch Lepson. He'll be on the freshest rubber with 5 to go. 6 including the one that they're about to start. And, well, a Red Bull on soft compound tyres with nothing to lose. And we do have lights off on the safety car, which means it's time to go racing, you bunch of hot dogs, as NASCAR presenters would say.
That was Darrell Waltrip at Martinsville.
You know more about American stuff than I do. But anyway,
because I am American.
Yeah, I know you are. Anyway, can Makender pull out the lead that he had before? What can Crawley Voice do from P8? And the ones at the back on softs? Well, we'd like to see them racing hard. We don't want any kamikazes, please. Look at the weaving going on from Makender. He's allowed to do it. He's going very fast on this restart, though. He's 115, roughly, near 120. He's gone now, but there wasn't much more to accelerate to be honest. It's enough, though. And who's that? That's Tunari and Jammy. Jammy losing out. He lost the rear going into turn 1. And Jammy losing positions left, right, and centre. It's all getting a bit tight through the midfield. Crawley Voice holds his ground at the minute. And what can he do from here? He looks at Jammy there, but isn't able to make anything happen. Oh, big lock-up from Christian in the Ferrari. And Crawley Voice does take advantage there. But he's on the outside for the chicane. He's going to have to leave the space. Does so. It becomes the inside for the next corner. That's a good move, but he bumps the wall. And, yep, that's an end plate gone. So that run on the softs, well, it just became a heck of a lot harder. Run Cruiser and Smelto are moving up as well on their soft compound tires. Oh, that was close. That was nearly into the wall at Castle. Up at the front, Makender has broken DRS. That's, oh, maybe just. Danny desperately trying to stay within range. He knows it's his only chance, because Makender has been mighty round here today. Immediately staying in the purple sector, of course. And the gap has reached 1.1, so DRS will not be available on the next lap unless Danny puts a Herculean effort to catch up. He'll get some slipstream here, but if that's the pace that Makender has, next time round, Danny probably will not be in DRS unless he puts a super effort in here.
I believe Danny made a mistake through that middle sector. He got a great restart, awful late restart from Makender. But Danny was all over the rear wing of that Mercedes through the middle sector. Might have made a little bit of a mistake to balloon that gap all the way to a second.
I don't know if it was a bad getaway from Makender. I think Danny just had a better one, but Makender all the way through the second and third sector just seemed to have the legs on Danny. Danny now using a bit of slipstream there and a bit of DRS. A short bit of DRS you get along that straightaway to close up. The gap is currently 8/10 as we're watching Tunari, who is basically the tail end of this leading pack. Lockups everywhere. Danny desperately trying to stay with Makender. 8/10 the gap. Whoa! Danny losing the rear on entry there, and that's cost him. They all make it through Castle, it seems. Gosh, they're pushing these cars to the absolute limit, as we want them to. Now, is that going to be crucial for Danny? Will he have lost DRS completely? He's got a little bit of time to close into the deficit. I believe the line is now roundabout. He's not within a second. I think DRS is gone. And he's burning, desperately trying. He's burned away his ERS. And nope, he does not get DRS, but Noah does. And Noah closing, closing, closing. He's not even using any ERS, he's using medium. And sets the fastest lap of the race as well. So if he can get past Danny, the win could still be on for Noah. That's a battle to watch. Meanwhile, further down the order, Crawley Voice in all sorts of diffs along with Meepo and Jammy. Locking wheels there. Interlocking wheels, I should say. And Run Cruiser is back again. These Ferraris and RBs and Red Bulls just can't stay away from each other today. What can Jammy do? Oh, that's a late move from Run Cruiser, but he makes it stick. Well done to him. He's gotten past Crawley Voice. And that's P10 for the Ferrari driver, who's maybe feeling he should be a bit further up the order. He certainly wants to overtake Meepo, I would imagine, after what they had going on earlier. Whoa! Like rally drivers going over the curbs. pushing these cars for all they're worth. Locking tires, sliding tires. The softs are going to be crying abuse at this point. But the drivers will just say, keep going, son.
And you can see Danny has kept that gap at about 0.8 of a second. That is crucial as he makes a mistake down into turn 15. But he keeps that gap around 0.8 of a second, maybe up to a second. But Makender is by no means waddling away with this one.
It depends how well they keep the ERS going. They're roughly about even so far. I think Makender, he's had a bit of breathing room to try and experiment. I think that's what he's doing. He's just trying to find out, okay, where do I need to save ERS? Where do I need to spend it? Danny gets the fastest lap of the race. It's not over between these two yet. On the same type of tire and same age of tire as well is further back Jammy and Jensen. Whoa! That was nearly into the wall for Jensen. He loses out to Meepo. Run Cruiser also can take advantage. Smelter retires. That's in the pit lane though, so that's okay. Lepton gets 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane just to ruin his day even more, but he retired anyway. Jensen goes over Jammy and Run Cruiser as well. The Slipstream's so powerful round here. Whoa! And he does, Run Cruiser does tap Jensen. Somehow he gets away with it without taking damage. And these ones giving us great excitement as Noah gets 3-second time penalty. That's crucial because he was fighting for the win.
Yes, he was. You can see Danny hasn't let that gap balloon at all through the middle sector. If he can keep this at about half a second, he's got a shot down the main straightaway. He's got incredible straight line speed today.
He's also got more ERS. The way he saved it, he's used none of it through that second sector. Makender down to about 43%, which is still a decent amount. Now, overtake mode immediately activated for Danny with DRS. Makender using hot lap, and then maybe he's expecting this. Maybe he's thinking, look, you're going to go through probably, so I'll just sit behind you like you've done with me, and I'll overtake you with a couple of laps to go. Makender has good straight line speed as well. They're both running medium. The DRS closing, and closing fairly quickly, though it took him a while. And out of nowhere, Noah, who locks up promptly afterwards. And is Danny ahead? He is just. This is the last thing Makender needed because Noah, well, he has that 3-second penalty, so Noah now in a do or die scenario is like, let me through or suffer the consequences. Nykow is still in there as well. Noah does take the lead and is now holding up Danny. And Danny locking that rear again. You saw the car stepping out. He must be running very low downforce.
He very well could be, but this is the best possible scenario for Danny. He got by Makender. Noah's got a 3-second time penalty, and now if he can just hold on to the back of that Alpine, he will be towed along down the straightaways, and there's not going to be much that Makender can do.
But we've seen the double slipstream as well. We've seen cars coming from miles back and overtaking 2 or 3 cars down that straight. If Makender has the double slipstream, he could still be in there. And Makender is dropping back a little bit, but so is Danny actually. 0.6 a piece between them. Danny is charging, as you can see, he's up to 92%. He's not using any ERS in that middle sector, and it seems to be the way to go, as I'm furiously taking notes for when I reach here in my league race. So, overtake used for Makender, Danny on medium. Noah has nothing left, he's on hot lap, he's at 10%. Makender, he just doesn't have the straight line speed. Danny, whatever setup he's gone for, just has so much more straight line speed. And he does take the lead. Noah just about gets it stopped. Wouldn't that be a tragedy, tragic way to end it if Noah ended up rear-ending someone? But he might as well go for it. He's got nothing left to lose. The 3-second time penalty, it will knock him off the podium, possibly down to P5.
And this is the point where Danny very well could have broken a little bit earlier down into turn 3, let Noah by, and then he would have had his slipstream again down the front straightaway. I'm a little miffed as to why Danny didn't let Noah by out of turn number 4.
He's maybe feeling he doesn't need to with his straight line speed, and he's also again not using any ERS, like none at all.
Yeah.
He's at 100% battery. So is Makender though. Makender is learning from his rival as well. So both of them using on full battery here. Using the slipstream, Makender will try and get past Noah here. Be great if he could before the main straight. As Jammy retires. Oh, we did have a blow up at Castle. There you go. I was waiting for that on my bingo card. So Jammy falls foul of Castle. It claims the victim. Too late for a safety car, mind you. We're within that final 10% of the race. So, no DRS for Danny this time. Makender does have it. Still only using medium though, and now using overtake. Yeah, obviously expecting the rain to last a bit longer. Makender just does not have any straight line speed compared to the front two.
No, and you saw Danny use that Joseph Newgarden trick, trying to break the slipstream down the straightaway, weaving back and forth. Seemed to work very well. Noah really couldn't pick anything up down the main straightaway. We'll see if he can get anything into fourth.
We'll have to, well, he wanted to be careful with the weaving, because of course in Formula 1, you're allowed one defensive move, and that includes breaking the toe. You can't just keep on swinging left and right. It is not allowed, as Makender does get past Noah, and Naikau trying to do the same in hopes of the win. 2 to go, including this one. Noah's win is basically gone at this point, all but guaranteed. And both of them learning from each other. Makender now on max battery as well. Danny has given away his trade secret, it seems. Oh, those rears sliding everywhere. Now we will see how pure Danny's straight line speed is. Locks up a little bit going into the left-hander. But Maisie didn't hit the wall there, it cost him a bit of time. Makender needs a good exit. And gets one. Immediately overtake used for Danny. Yeah, that's interesting. Makender, despite having higher downforce, it seems, is not comfortable with using overtake in that chicane. And here comes Noah. But Makender is gaining. He is gaining. And we're going to go 3 wide here, are we not? We are going to go 3 wide. Naikau tucks back in. Noah locks up. Oof. Nearly running the Mercedes into the wall. And the bottom line there is Makender did gain some time on Danny. So now they'll recharge. He'll have one more assault. One more chance. This for the win of the race. And of course, if it all goes tits up for Makender and Danny, Naikau could be a surprise winner out of nowhere. Coming through the end of Sector 1 for the final time. Literally nose to tail. Nothing to separate the top 4. Tunari now actually within those 3 seconds as well, so Noah is going to drop down to P5 at minimum. All making it through Castle for the final time. We'll go on board with Makender. 95% battery. Danny burning a little bit here to try and break the toe. Into the hard braking zone, locking up again. But surviving. And now McLaren versus Mercedes, dragging to the line. Overtake used by both drivers. Makender is giving it everything he's got. So is Danny, and Danny is pulling away. That's a bit of an anticlimax, to be quite honest with you. Noah will try and take P2, possibly even P1 on the track, but it won't matter. As he comes to the line, weaving already, that's a bit risky considering the straight line speed. Danny does take the win though. Makender second, Naikau will take third, Noah will take fourth, Tunari I believe gets fifth, minus a front wing. Christian 6th, Jensen 7th, Meebo 8th, Tug 9th, and Run Cruiser smashes over the line in P10, just because he wanted to give those Ferrari mechanics a bit of headache, as his car decides to eat its own tyre and promptly vomit it out. Danny, driver of the day. I think that's a fair enough assessment.
Yes.
And there we go.
He came from last to first.
What more can you say? The man keeps on doing it. He just keeps on doing it. Another win for Danny. And well deserved, it must be said. Maykinder deserved it too, probably as well. Drove very well in the wet, but wasn't expecting the track to dry probably as much as it was going to. And the higher downforce was just the death knell for the dream of Mercedes. But a fine showing nonetheless. And we will head into the interviews. And I'm also going to turn a light on here because it is pitch black now. The joys of September. I'll be right back. Ugh. If I can find the light switch. There it is. Oh, so yes. We'll just wait a wee minute or two here to see if anyone else shows up into the interview room. We have one driver. In fact, we might as well bring him in here now since he's in there. Nikau is in the chat, who finished P3. And let's move Nikau over here. Nikau.
Hello.
Congratulations on the podium.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talk about your race then, because obviously a race of changing fortunes and changing weather. Talk us through your race.
Well, let's start with qualifying because it went so badly. On my final lap, I hit the inside wall of the turn 3 while I was like 3/10 better in first sector, but yeah, P9 still pretty good. Then I was pretty happy because the start of the race was wet, and I feel like I'm okay in the wet. So, and I feel like it went pretty well. Then, I mean, the safety cars were not ideal, but the last safety car was, because it saved my whole race, and I just had pretty good pace till the end, and Noah took a penalty, and I got my first podium in Tier 1. So
you can thank Kit for that one. He lost his front wing in the Williams, so he was the reason for the safety car. So you can slip him a tenner. Were you realistically in with the show of the lead, or were those two just too quick at the front?
I just tried to be in the DRS because I knew I can't win. They had so good pace, and Noah had the penalty, and I tried to overtake in the second last lap, but I didn't want to go 3 wide into the first corner, so I just backed out and took the podium.
Fair enough. Yep, anything to add there, Bossman?
No.
Insightful as always.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, yep, so next round is... What is our next round? It's a good question.
It is Japan.
Ooh, your thoughts on that?
Suzuka.
It was one of my most hated tracks in F1 23, or actually I haven't even driven it in this game, so I don't know. It can be good, it can be bad.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, pretty okay. A tricky one. Oh wait, actually I did race in Japan, but it ended up in the wall, so...
Yeah, I believe the main thing to watch out for on this year's game is the curves in Sector 1. They are quite deadly, from what I recall.
Yes.
And speaking of things that are deadly, the only other thing that's quite so dead is the interview room. You appear to be the only one that's shown up.
Yay.
So, and we've been chatting for a good few minutes, so I don't think we are going to get anyone else. So there you go, nice short interviews tonight. You might as well chill with us until the stream ends, and
Yeah.
because we're not waiting on anyone else. I'm sorry, I can't get enough of your Discord picture. That cat up close to the camera.
I know.
Is that your
I
cat?
love cats. No, unfortunately not. But we have 2 cats.
I
But
was gonna
yeah.
say, that's what you look like under the helmet. We just take it off, and there's a fluffy
Yeah.
pair of fluffy ears under there.
That will be funny, but no, unfortunately not.
Right. Well, anyway, since there's no one else waiting in the interview room, I believe we will call it there. Thank you very much for watching the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Tier 1 with us. I have been Lover Lars.
And I've been Boss Man.
And we've had Night Cow with us as well.
Yay!
Yay! Yay! Well,
I didn't commentate, but sure, I was here.
yeah, well, you're up here now, so you're in the comm box. You wiped your feet before you came in, didn't you? There you go. That's fine. Coffee machines at the back. There's a spare bunk in there somewhere as well. But anyway, we will see you next time for Japan, the land of the rising sun, and possibly the land of rising temperatures between the drivers as well. We'll wait and see. But until then, we hope you have a very good week, and we will see you on Wednesday for Tier 2. And then back here, same bad time, same bad channel for Tier 1. Until then, have a very good week. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.